When I start shooting, all y'all gonna clear out.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of a controversy that happened day one of EVO regarding Ludwig. Popular content creator, bro does a lot of great work, but this time around he kind of upset the FGC because of the comments he made around Street Fighter. First, we hit 40,000 subscribers. Thank you everyone for the support. It's truly amazing and I do appreciate it a lot. The growth that the channel has received has been incredible, and I'm going to try and continue to work hard to just create new content, interesting content. There may be some things that change. I think I want to make the videos a little bit longer, a little bit more detailed, but other than that, bro, I'm happy that I made it this far. We got a long way to go though. And back to the topic of Ludwig. I like Ludwig a lot. A lot of the big streamers can be super annoying and just trying to clip farm a lot and just doing the most on the timeline, but Ludwig has always seemed like a person who really genuinely cares about games and about the people who play them. And there's been multiple things that he's done that shows that kind of supports that. Love this channel, Mogul Mail, and I wish he would bring it back. So if you're watching this, Ludwig, please do me that solid. But for those of you who don't know, he was invited to basically EVO, and he was going to do this big match between him and Tyler1, a 1st to 10 on Street Fighter. And these guys were paid to be here. That's a very important part. They were paid to be here, paid to participate, and it's basically just trying to open up the FGC to a larger audience, to their audience. So this was a really hype moment, and the tournament basically ended. I believe the final score was 10-2. Ludwig basically smoked Tyler. It wasn't even close. But the controversy for this whole thing happened after the fact, when they were doing a little bit of after the match banter. They were talking just about their experience in playing Street Fighter, what they learned, what they struggled with, how they felt about their opponent, just good old fashioned after the match banter. But there was a part that Ludwig said that got clipped, put on Twitter, and everyone felt a type of way about it. We'll look at their responses in just a second, but first I want to show you what he said.
Tyler, I hope you keep playing Street Fighter. It's electric to watch. GG's.
Yes, you've been watching on my. It's fine. It's fine. Hey, how you been in every one of my streams watching me? Download it on me. What are you doing? You couldn't go live one time and show me what you were doing?
Tyler1 was streaming the game very heavily, and he was basically trying to learn how to play the game. And Ludwig was just in his chat, just trolling, watching and whatnot. But Ludwig really wasn't streaming the game himself. This is basically why he wasn't streaming it.
I like Street Fighter, but I also like viewers. It just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry.
Oh no, come on, man. Hey.
Boo!
Yeah, boo. Wait, I wish he lost. We love Street Fighter here.
Yeah, so the whole crowd reigns in boos. I like Street Fighter, but I like viewers is his response. This channel that we're watching is his channel. I don't know who the person is who's streaming this event for him on this channel, but this is his channel. 6.9 million views, 51,000 views. Bro was paid to be on the stage of EVO to play against Tyler1, and he said, I like Street Fighter, but I also like viewers. Now, before we talk about is he right, is he wrong, this, that, first analyze what he said. The reason why he is saying this is because the general audience doesn't like fighting games. I was doing a little bit of research, and some people were saying that they, when they see the characters clashing on screen, they don't really understand what's going on and they don't really feel connected to it. These guys are trying to learn the game and they're sitting in practice mode for hours trying to practice some combo, some setup. And people who are used to just watching these guys play like Valorant or some game and just body everyone, they're kind of bored, right? They're bored sitting watching these guys trying the same thing over and over and over and over. And that results in a dip in viewership. I also seen that when a lot of these big streamers play fighting games, they all sit in practice mode. Not all of them, but a large portion of them, when they enter in practice mode, their viewership dip down. And this is personally why I think that you necessarily shouldn't do that. When you're starting off a fighting game, yes, you do want to lab. I know there's going to be diehard fighting game players who's like, no, labbing is important. But I'm just saying, when you're trying to entertain a audience, especially a massive one, you kind of just has to go into rank and try to maybe have like a coach, have someone there in your ear giving you advice, giving you what to do to keep the stream entertained, alive, but also learn while you're doing it. That is the biggest hurdle, is when these guys touch fighting games, they have to sit in practice mode and it kills the hype. And that's why their audiences don't want to watch it, and also their audiences find it boring. But this is the thing as well. You can't say something like this on the stage of EVO. whether or not it's right or wrong, whether or not you think fighting games are boring, good, bad, or ugly, saying that this statement on the stage of EVO is equivalent to, you guys remember that UFC fighter who said Michelle Obama is a man? You remember that guy? A lot of people were debating whether or not he's right, whether or not he's wrong, but a lot of people were saying that kind of joke can't be made in that type of environment. It's a time and a place for everything. And this is an equivalent of what, that guy did. Talking trash about Street Fighter, which is the king of fighting games, on the stage of EVO, even if it's just a small slight, it's going to result in this where the whole crowd is booing. The whole crowd, because you have a sea of people who are super passionate about the game. Everyone here dedicates to everything to it. Sacrifices are made, right? And then when you have him on stage, not willing to sacrifice a little bit of his viewership, it'll recover, it'll bounce back, but you're not even willing to sacrifice a little bit of your viewership to expose it to your audience, which is why, EVO selected you. If you're not really even willing to do that, it's kind of just people are going to feel disrespected by it. They're going to feel like, they should have chose someone else. And now I'm not going to hold it against Ludwig. I don't think he was trying to say this to like tear down Street Fighter. I think he was just speaking the truth. So when we take a look at Twitter, here is the tweet that basically posted it. This comes from Chris F22. The quote here says, "I like Street Fighter, but I also like viewers." Is a sentence I never thought I'd hear on an EVO stage, but here we are. Don't know if I'm angry or disappointed, probably both. We're going to look at some of the top comments in response to this. Someone says, "Any streamer I've ever seen playing a fighting game insta loses 60% or more video views. If Westerners are faced with small hurdles or practice is needed, they're gone." This is a large portion of why fighting games are becoming more and more casual and more accessible, more and more simplified, more and more easy to play. Is because there's a big hurdle, there's a big like fence of people who don't want to play the game and they don't want to watch the game because practice mode is needed. And really, there's no real way to get around practice mode. It's a very, very important part of fighting games, and you're going to have to face it sooner rather than later. But developers trying to push that practice mode off until way later, it makes sense. I mean, for Tekken 8, people can reach God of Destruction. People can reach some of the top ranks. You're talking about like the top ranks. The inflation in Tekken, and I hear Street Fighter's kind of like this as well. The inflation in fighting games are so bad, and the ranks are so easy to where people can climb up very rapidly and very easily without knowing much about the game. I was fighting against someone the other day who would block a launch punishable low, but then not launch punish it. They were very high rank in the game, and that is a very basic part of fighting games. And you can see how fighting games are allowing players en masse to move up without knowing anything about the game and also without using practice mode. But the interesting thing about that is when those players move up and eventually do reach those roadblocks, because you will eventually run into the players who are using practice mode and they will keep you down. When you run into that, those players start to very loudly complain. They start to complain about characters, balancing, connection, anything and everything they can, because they feel that their progress have been stopped and they don't understand why. They've been pressing buttons, doing the attacks, and it worked all the way up until here. They don't realize that they need to learn, that they need to practice, and some of them even shun the idea. They say, I made it this far without practicing, why do I need to practice now? So there's a whole thing here that's bigger than just the Ludwig situation that fighting games are trying to address, and you can see why they're trying to address it, because Ludwig doesn't want to stream the game, because streaming the game means he has to sit in practice mode all day, which means that his viewers won't want to watch. So this is what fighting games are trying to tackle. The next comment here says, what are y'all mad at? People don't want to watch Street Fighter? It's a great game, but Ludwig's viewers aren't really a part of FGC. Some are from his Melee days, but most of his chat hates it. Anyways, glad it didn't stream it. Made the reveal and bait of Tyler that much better. One of the top quote tweets says, big Japanese streamers moved to Street Fighter 6 and got viewers. Big French streamers can play anything. Their viewers follow because they're bigger than the game. Big US streamers are restricted to a genre to get viewers. Maybe US viewers watch the game, not the streamer. Now, one thing that I do know just from watching Twitch for all of these years is that this is kind of true. On Twitch, channels live and die depending on what games are popular. We're all familiar with the name Ninja and how he was the king of Fortnite. But as soon as Fortnite fell off, his viewership plummeted and he's never really been the same. If people were really watching Ninja for Ninja, he would have been the king even to this day. But the crowd is constantly being passed because people are watching the game and not necessarily the streamer. And this is why IRL streamers are kind of on top, because they aren't bound to any single game and they don't live or die based on it. A tech content creator says, how do you get paid to be at an event and say this in front of the people who grind so hard in a fighting game space? This is a major fighting game event / tournament with fighting game fans and supporters. This is why sometimes it's good to get people outside the FGC to help promote it, and sometimes it's just not worth it. Before I end this video, I actually seen a clarification from Ludwig where he responded to the original person who posted the video. The only loser in that exhibition was the FGC. Ludwig responds and says, to clarify, that was mostly banter to defend my hidden character, and I do play Street Fighter on stream basically every week, but my job is making dumb videos, playing with friends, or eating everything from Taco Bell, not grinding rank ladder while tilting. I think the expedition was good. As you can see, people are very upset with Ludwig. Me personally, I'm not really upset, as I kind of am more understanding of situations like this. It didn't seem like he meant anything too malice. He just was speaking very carelessly to a very committed and diehard audience who really isn't going to stand for that kind of slander of one of the great games, right? So hopefully this doesn't impact Ludwig too heavily in any type of way. I think he generally does very great work. I know he helped out a lot of people in the past. He even donates and use his own money to support fighting games and whatnot. So he has a big heart for fighting games, and it seems like it was just kind of speaking a little too recklessly in front of a crowd of people who really won't tolerate it. Some content creators are upset, some players are upset, but hopefully we could just put this thing all behind us and it's no big deal.